Everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful start to your weekend. We're here because we have a few pieces of news we need to go over. We have some more potential sales data here to go over. You'll understand why I say potential in a moment. In addition to that, the sales data has to do with Switch 2 as a console, by the way. So we'll deal with that in a moment. It has to do with, I believe, the month of August. So we'll get to that. Worldwide sales, by the way. So this is actually new information, new stuff that we haven't previously talked about. Beyond all of that, we have a game that, gosh, why hasn't it been announced already? We now have even more leaks surrounding the worst kept secret in terms of video games coming to Switch 2. So we got that going on. And yes, a little PSA. Look, we talked about how before that Pokemon Legends ZA, had leaked, and that literally happened. It meant that copies were out in the wild. It didn't mean that it was on the internet that you could play ROMs. Said that in the video. Leaks aren't just about the ROM being online. Leaks just mean it literally leaked from retail into somebody's hands. That's a literal leak. Well, we can't even sit here and pretend anymore that information isn't online because the game has been fully data mined. Oh, man. This happens every time, by the way, for Switch 1 games in particular. This should have been expected, but it's still disappointing every time this happens before launch. That said, I got to remind you, we do have a couple of giveaways going on. One, we're giving away 3 copies of Age of Imprisonment, and 2, we're giving away 5 copies of Kirby Air Riders. To enter, there's a couple links down in the pinned comment or the description. Let's go ahead and dive in. And this first piece we're diving into has to do with the overall sales of Nintendo Switch 2 for the month of August worldwide. Now, we're going to go to a website that I don't usually go to. It is one that I used to cover a lot years back, but have gone away from more and more over time because their information tends to be rather inaccurate. Now, I will note that the site has done a lot of reform over the years and has corrected itself over time. Now, this website focuses on sell through rather than sell in. Sell in is what is sold from a company to retail, and sell through is what's actually sold from retail to customers. And they provide a lot of estimates for this stuff. They get quoted all over the place, and I've actually seen them tossed into my feed and thrown at me over and over again, mostly because of one particular territory where Switch 2 got outsold by PS5 for this month. But I find it really interesting because they're just ignoring the full context of this source. And of course, we're talking about VG charts. So that's right. I don't want to hear it down in the comments about how unreliable they are and all that. I already know. Literally, I addressed it before I even mentioned who we're talking about. But they put this post up a day ago. They said the Switch 2 bestseller has sales top 8 million. Now, we've talked about before how Paul Gale Networks put out there that 8.6 million units have been sold through August 25th worldwide for Switch 2. You're going to see the numbers here are a little under that, but it is possible there's a discrepancy because that 8.6 million could be sell in and not sell through because his sources potentially might be from Nintendo themselves, which focus more on sell in because that is a completed sale for Nintendo. So as we looked at it, says the Switch 2 was the best-selling console worldwide at 1,112,719 units sold for August 2025, according to VG Charts estimates. The Switch 2 has sold 8.16 million units lifetime. All right, that is according to their estimates. The PlayStation 5 was the second best-selling console with an estimated 875,798 units sold to bring its lifetime sales to 79.09 million. The Nintendo Switch 1 was the third best-selling console with an estimated 259,568 units sold to bring its lifetime sales to 151.62 million. And then the Xbox Series X and S came in fourth place with 123,644. Again, any discrepancies are going to be because they're talking about sell through, not sell in. Also, estimates, right? As we go down, though, it's actually interesting. So it says, looking at sales month on month, Switch 2 sales are down by over 491,000 units. I find that actually quite interesting. They're talking obviously worldwide here. They're not just talking about any particular region, but it's no surprise. Sales in August were less than sales in July, and sales in September will be less than sales in August. This isn't like a shocking thing. But year to date, the Switch 2 is the best-selling system despite only existing from June onwards at that 8.16 million with PlayStation 5 at 7 million. But the reason that this article kept getting quoted to me was this right here, where PlayStation 5 has taken the lead in Europe for the month of August, where it sold 273,627, according to their estimates, compared to Switch 2. And people are talking about how this represents that Look, PlayStation 5 is back on top. PlayStation 5. Look, for starters, I don't really care who's on top. Let's just begin there. So it's a really weird thing to toss in my face. Two, this has nothing to do with the long-term prospects of Switch 2 or the Switch 2 even performed poorly, because globally still sold over 1 million units, at least according to their estimates. Might be higher, might be slightly lower, according to, their estimates. So that's in the month of August. That's still a lot of units to move in the middle of summer. So much PlayStation 5, which had the #1 selling games blowing up on their platform for the month of August, Madden, NBA 2K, right? Did really big numbers on PlayStation 5. Despite that, still couldn't crack 1 million worldwide. So the big thing too is, well, hey, the Switch still has a pretty healthy lead here in the United States at 371,000 compared to PlayStation 5's 203,000. So there's still a very healthy lead there. And obviously in Japan, I mean, we know. If you know, you know. Now they're obviously not just counting Japan, right? They're counting mainland Asia and the Middle East, so China. So they're like, I'm very curious how they get those estimates, since we pretty much never get sales figures out of mainland Asia or the Middle East. We really don't get data for those regions. So I don't know how they come to those overall estimates, because this right here, like this is primarily, if you go do the math, Famitsu numbers. So I guess the assumption is Switch 2 sold like no units anywhere else in Asia. I think that's rather interesting. That being said, they also have 7,000 here for Xbox. But anyways, Oceanic, you can see Switch 2 and PlayStation 5 are very, very close. This is Australia, New Zealand. Those numbers are negligible, within margin of error, very tightly contested there. Obviously, they have their weekly sales charts here as well, where globally, Switch 2 sold 307,000, they're saying, for the August 9th period. Then they're seeing, obviously, it being #1 on August 16th. They're saying it's #1 on August 23rd and #1 for the final week of August as well. So actually, wait, no, technically #2. They messed up the list here. PlayStation 5 should be on top here. Anyways, point is that this is the part I wanted to get to, because this part here, let's zoom in. This is what has changed at VG charts over time. I guess this makes people want to talk about it. It's one reason we're talking about it. It says Harbor estimates are based on retail sampling and trends in individual countries, which are then extrapolated to represent the wider region. This typically allows us to produce figures that end up being within 10% of the actual totals. 10% margin of error is not too bad. This data is regularly compared against official shipment figures released by the console manufacturers and figure estimated by regional trackers with greater market coverage than ourselves. We then update our own estimates to bring them in line with those figures. This result in frequent changes, often within a short space of time. We feel it's important to prioritize accuracy over consistency. That is one thing I really like that VG charts changed. They used to not be that way. They changed it after people realized how unreliable they were, that, hey, we need to update our figures super quick because data is getting out there. And if our figures are way off, we really got to make sure we get accurate stuff out there. It says, note that our estimates are based on sell-through. As I said, units sold to customers. In almost all cases, figures released by console manufacturers are sell-in. And that's because a sell-in sale is an official sale for that company. They've already made their money on that unit. Now they need those units to sell through to consumers, so more units get ordered and they can have more sell-in. So sell-in is a very important figure, but sell-through is as well, because if sell-through is not happening, then you just have units sitting on shelves and then they're not ordering anymore, and then your sales go down. So anyways, again, a lot of people throwing in my face the European stuff. I don't know why. I don't know why anyone cares. I got to be honest. I kind of think it's all silly, but hey, it is what it is. Those are the sales. Switch 2 is the best-selling system in August worldwide. We'll see if it maintained it in September. September is the one that I'm not quite sure if it stayed on top of PS5 worldwide, but we'll find out, won't we? Next up, well, how about Pokemon Legends ZA? It's already being data mined. Watch out for spoilers. Getting this from Nintendo Life. Don't worry, there's no spoilers in this post. So Pokemon Legends ZA is out on the Switch and Switch 2 next week, and it appears the new entry is already being data mined. According to IGN, there's evidence of early copies filtered out into the wild, which I already talked about before, which has reportedly led to leaks. Without going into specifics, there's word of even more new Mega Pokemon. This might not be the biggest surprise, considering the Pokemon Company has already revealed multiple new Mega Evolutions. Some websites are also sharing the leaks in full, which are popping up on social media platforms, subreddits, and other community spaces online. To make it clear, we won't be sharing any major spoilers about Pokemon Legends ZA ahead of next week's launch on the 16th of October. I'll give you an example. I follow a account for Pokemon leaks on X called Central Leaks, and they've been posting a ton of leaks from Legends ZA. I just been scrolling by and not reading any of them because I know the game is out there. I know it leaked. And so I don't really want to see that information. So even though I'm not going to unfollow them or even mute them, for me, it's easy to just not read it, right? Even when they post images, I just scroll by so fast, it doesn't matter to me. That said, not everyone could do that. Some people have a hard time avoiding eyes like that. So I get that, yeah. But I follow them because when games aren't leaked out there, we're just talking about general leaks overall, I don't mind following them, getting some information, sharing it to you guys. But our cutoff is when games are actually leaked in the wild. We don't want to just spoil the entire game. That is not the purpose of our coverage of leaks and rumors. Our purpose is to drive hype and excitement for the games and deliver information we find useful to consumers. We don't think leaking the entire game and giving you every detail of that leak is actually that useful for consumers. But I understand for some people that, hey, you're buying the game anyways. You want to know literally everything. I get why people have a desire for this information. It's just not something I choose to share. Anyways, it won't be the first time that Pokemon games or Switch titles have been data mined and leaked online, of course. So yeah, there you go. I just wanted to go with the lightest article on this that shared the least amount of information because I didn't want you guys getting spoiled in any fashion that you didn't want to. All right, so you've been warned. I don't know if you want to stay off social media or block things. It's always up to the individual what you want to do. Or maybe you're like me and it's easy to ignore stuff by just scrolling by once you realize, oh, this is about Legends EA. Skip. Anyways, this though, Ubisoft, what are we doing? All right. We all know that Assassin's Creed Shadows was rated by PEGI and other ratings boards a while back earlier this year, right? That's how we knew Assassin's Creed Shadows is coming to Switch 2. It was not something that's a rumor. It's literally leaked. It leaked from ratings boards. Well, now the damn box art has leaked at a French retailer, and I'm still left wondering, why the hell is this game not announced yet? This is stupid. Everything leaks from Ubisoft. The moment that PEGI rating leaked, Ubisoft should have greenlit, hey, maybe we should reveal Shadows for Switch 2. The headlines are all pointing out that it's a game key card. This is my Nintendo news. You can see it here. It is a game key card. Look, look, at this point, I don't even think calling it a game key card is newsworthy. Obviously, it is technically news. I just don't think it's big deal news. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't really matter at this point. But man, I gotta say, I find all of this to be massively entertaining that this game is out there. It's been leaked. We have the direct box art. We have the PEGI rating, which we know this is real. We know it's legit. It's on their damn website. Switch 2 is happening with this game. And it's still not even announced. Ubisoft is still pretending that we don't know this game is coming. Now, look, it might not be coming till the first half of 2026, to be clear. And having box art, it being rated, doesn't mean it's coming this year. It could still be like a first half of next year game. But I just think it's hilarious that we've known about this game now through multiple legitimate, public, very, very public leaks. And Ubisoft is still like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Shadows? Oh, Shadows on Switch 2? Switch 2 is a cool platform, but I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Shadows? Switch 2? Switch 2 is cool, but dude, Ubisoft, drop the act. Announce the damn thing. It's not that hard. Just drop a trailer on a random Tuesday. Hell, it's Saturday. Drop a trailer today. Just confirm it and move on. Obviously, for a lot of people, they're curious how well it runs and all this other stuff, but come on, man. It's like the worst kept secret in the industry. Just like Switch 2 being another Switch was like the worst kept secret in the industry, and then we had like legitimate image leaks of it and stuff. Now, we didn't know the name 100% for sure. People hoped or assumed it would be Switch 2, but we didn't know the name necessarily 1,000% for sure. But my lord, we know. We know, Ubisoft. By the time this gets announced, the reaction is not going to be, oh, I'm really excited this game is coming to Switch 2. It's going to be just relief. Finally, we're not talking about this game leaking. Anyways. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Nathaniel Robojets from Nintendo Prime. I had some fun with this one. Hope you guys did too. I'll catch you in the next video.